Welcome to fabulous Lake Tahoe, your local's guide to the very best of America's year-round playground. I'm Jack Durst, and this is my guide to better camera phone photography. I get a lot of people asking, how do you take better pictures with your camera phone when you're on vacation in Lake Tahoe or when you're around generally? And it's a really good question because your camera phone makes it possible for you to shoot a lot of pictures that you wouldn't otherwise be able to shoot at all. Sometimes photography is about being in the right place at the right time, and you don't know when that right place and right time is going to come up. So you have to be ready. And one of the ways you can be ready is to be good at using the camera in your cell phone. Because your cell phone's in your pocket about 90% of the time, and because your cell phone is in your pocket all the time, you have the option of getting a really good picture that you would otherwise have no chance of getting at all. The first step in taking a good picture is to realize that there's a picture there to be taken. And that only happens if you make a habit of noticing. A lot of us wander around in the world without really knowing what's going on around us. Keep your awareness open to the world around you, to the buildings, to the landscape, to the people. Notice how the light plays with the landscape, how the shadows hang on the mountains in the morning, how the light plays off the facades of buildings in the afternoon, how the sky reflects off of clouds in still water. When you get in the habit of noticing, you will soon find that the world is chock full of stunning pictures that would make excellent photographs. When you see a good picture in the world, just whip out your camera and click, and you've captured that picture for all time. And the amazing thing is, when you go through the world noticing the pictures around you, you notice that the pictures change all the time. One day it'll be a sunny sky and a beautiful blue lake. The next day there'll be menacing gray clouds. And the wonderful thing about the world is it is changing all the time. You can capture those changes, but you can only capture those changes if you make the habit of noticing when things change. What you're photographing when you do photography is the weather, the light, what's happening that moment in the scene. Is there a dog playing on the beach behind you? Are there children skating in the pond? When you see something in the world, the simple fact that you've seen it and it caught your eye is perfectly sufficient reason to take a photograph of it. But taking good pictures is more than just about being in the right place at the right time. Photography is a skill, and skills improve with practice. Just go out to any park, anywhere. I happen to be here at Khale Park in South Lake Tahoe, which is a beautiful spot for photography. But you go anywhere, through any park anywhere, I can show you all the basic skills you need to be a good camera phone photographer. Luckily, the rules for good camera phone photography are the same as the rules of taking good pictures in general. So if you have some experience with taking pictures on regular cameras, your skills will probably transfer. Likewise, even if you're taking pictures with a real camera, a lot of this information will still be useful to you. When you see an opportunity for a picture in the world, spend a moment choosing the best place to take a picture. Don't just snap a picture out of the car window. Get out and look around you and find a good place to do your picture. First, for safety's sake, look around you and make sure you're not going to get hit by a car or fall off of a cliff when you're taking your picture. People get distracted. You're busy looking at the world from the camera's point of view. You don't necessarily notice that there's a car coming up behind you. Don't pull out your camera until after you've gotten across the street, until after you've made sure of where the cliff is and whether you're going to scramble up the cliff or down the cliff. Don't do it while you're looking through your camera. Put your camera in your pocket if you have a safety thing, and look both ways when you cross the street. Oh, and click on the annotation to see my video of cliff safety. We are losing way too many photographers to people not being smart about where they stand when they take their photos. Now, vantage point is one of the key facts of photography. The idea of vantage point is the picture you get is going to depend entirely on where you put the camera. If you walk through the park and walk along the bridge in the park, you can stop at each of the spots where you have a clear view, and you will get a different picture at every spot you stop at. You want to be walking around in the scene. Don't just stand there at that one first spot you noticed and take that picture and walk away. Also, don't be afraid to wait for the right moment. Get yourself in position, and especially if you're dealing with people or animals or fast-changing weather situations, get yourself in position and just chill there with your cell phone, looking through your cell phone until the moment is right. Wait for the moment, and when the moment comes, push the button. because one of the great things about photography is it's all in the moment. And if you capture that one moment when the great action is, anything else that's wrong with the photograph can be forgiven. Anywhere you stand in a scene, you're going to see different things. If you go to the Pony Express statue in State Line and you look at the front of that statue straight on, you can tell that it is a statue. You can see the patina of the bronze. You can see the Pony Express rider on this firm stone base. But if you go 180 degrees around the statue, you see that the Pony Express rider from that angle is a much more dynamic figure. You can't tell that it's a statue because the statue's in shadow. And because you can't tell that it's a statue, it looks as though a man on a horse is about to ride off down this modern street. And it's a magical photograph that you would never have found except for the fact that you took the time to look at two different vantage points of the same thing. It's all about composition, trying to make a pleasing picture with the eye. You go around in the scene looking for a place where the natural lines line up. Then you put your subject, say, on the 1/3 line. You put your horizon at the 2/3 line, up at the subject's shoulders. You get this intersection. Imagine a grid across your camera. You get this intersection of the lines on the grid, and when you have things in balance and lined up with those things, you can have a very good composition that looks like a professional photograph, even if you're working from a very cheap, crappy camera phone. Look through the camera's perspective as you compose a shot, and you see all the decisions the photographer is making when that photographer is composing the shot. So if you watch while I take a photograph, my first decision is I don't want this to be so zoomed in. So I zoom out by pinching until my ground level is at about my 1/3 line and the mountains are at about my 2/3 line. And that's a factor of the zoom. If I zoom in, I can make them take up more space or less, relatively speaking. Then I line up the edge of the shore so that my horizon is level, and then line it up again at the side to make sure nothing's leaning. Then I tap to focus and press the button. And because you see it through the screen, from the camera's perspective, you can make those decisions one by one as you go through framing. Don't get too much zoom on a camera phone. You see, on a real camera where you have a zoom, you're not losing any resolution. All the zoom is optical. You can zoom in as far as your physical zoom will take you, and you'll still have your full resolution of your camera. Camera phones aren't like that. They don't have a physical zoom. So what your zoom is doing is it's cropping pixels out of the edge of your picture, and there's not that many pixels there to begin with on a lot of people's phones. So if you're way at the end of your zoom, you're going to wind up with a blurry, not very sharp picture. Whereas if you get physically closer, instead of zooming in, you're still going to have the full resolution of your camera to work with. Camera phones take their best pictures up close, so if it's safe to do so, get close enough so that you can photograph without using your zoom or using as little zoom as possible. Zoom can work great as a compositional element. If you're trying to frame something and you need to take something out of the edge of the frame, that's what your zoom is for. But if you have the choice between taking a picture from far away and getting closer, get closer. You're going to have much better compositional opportunities if you get physically closer to the object you're trying to photograph. You may even find a better angle as you get closer so that you can take advantage of something interesting in the foreground. Or maybe you can step back and have something framing at the top or the side. If you walk around the scene, you will find a dozen different angles. And the great thing about camera phone photography is the film is free. If you take a bad picture, you just delete it. So don't be afraid to take pictures from all of those different angles and only post the ones you like. Because as I say, it is a lot easier to take 100 pictures and just count on 3 or 4 of them be spectacular than it is to try to take 10 good pictures without taking those 100 pictures. If you don't like a picture, just delete it. The film is free. And that's liberating because it lets you take a lot of different options. Make a habit of looking at the pictures you've just taken and deleting any that aren't worth keeping. This will both keep your card free for more pictures in the field and it will prevent you from accidentally sharing anything that you don't want shared. Plus, you get the learning experience of deciding which pictures to delete and why. Does this picture have a crooked horizon line, so maybe you don't want to share it for that reason? Or another picture might have ugly power poles at the edge where you're not paying as close attention to the edge of the picture? Just delete the picture and take another one. The film is free, as I say. Also, if you check in the moment, you have the opportunity to replace a picture you're not happy with another picture that doesn't have the same problems. Instant upload is a great feature for sharing pictures, since you don't have to actually be at your computer to share to all your social media. But please be selective about what you choose to post. Only share a picture directly if the picture is perfect as it is and doesn't need further work, because it's very, very hard to work on pictures on your phone. You share directly if you get that one spectacular photo that is the photo of the moment, or if there's, say, some news value to your photo. If your photo has immediate news value as it is, like, oh, the clouds are breaking right now, okay, that's perfectly good reason to post it to Twitter right then and there. But if the photo is not urgent, if it needs work, you should try very hard to edit your pictures and only share the good ones. You should share the few best pictures from your phone every day, either singly or in a gallery, but don't try to upload a gallery of more than 4 or 5 pictures from your cell phone, because you're going to go over your data limit. It takes a long time to upload pictures from your cell phone. And if you are in a rural area like Lake Tahoe, maybe your cell phone isn't always going to have coverage in the field. Now, obviously, if you're sharing pictures from your vacation, people are going to know you're not home. So please do everybody else the favor of setting your location properly when you take pictures out in a location like this at Lake Tahoe. If you go to the GPS status app or the mapping app in your phone, you can use the GPS to set your exact location to within about 30 feet. Then if you want to tweet your picture from there, you just push the little button on Twitter and it will tweet your accurate location so that you can remember exactly where you were when you took that picture. If you don't want to give away your location, you just push the button the other way and the location isn't there. Now, when you're on vacation, it's really better to share your location. The whole point of sharing your beautiful vacation pictures of Lake Tahoe is to prove that you were there. So there's really no point in privacy for that. I can see turning it off at home. You don't necessarily want your Twitter followers to know exactly where you live. But when you're on vacation, if you're going to be posting things from the field, post with the location turned on. It makes them easier to search, and if you forgot where you took that picture, you at least have an accurate location in the computer. When you get home, use your home broadband and upload the vast majority of your pictures from there. If you're selective and you only share the very best pictures, your Twitter followers or your Google+ circlers are going to have a much better opinion of your photography skills. Last of all, once you get home, you need to know to use your computer. Okay, so you may not have brought a laptop with you when you were traveling, but when you get home, you should transfer all the pictures from your phone into your computer. This both gives you the chance to clear your card for the next time and make sure that your phone gets lost or damaged, you still have pictures on your computer. Plus, your computer has image editing software that can make a lot of the mediocre pictures you took in the field look a lot better. Photoshop can correct a lot of the problems I've been telling you to avoid. So if that photo of the key moment has some of those problems, you might want to keep it on your card and put it through Photoshop when you get home. Click on the bonus video to see how to Photoshop your vacation pictures, because that's really a much more complicated subject than I can handle here. So stay tuned to Fabulous Lake Tahoe. There's going to be a concert report on the 1st of the month. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thumbs up this video if you enjoyed it. Please feel free to share it to all your social networks. Thank you, and keep Tahoe blue. Bye.